Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pop Culture Spread, our fun weekly movie and streaming news show. Let's talk big news. All right, Jace, I know you're pretty excited about this one, mate. Jared Leto is reportedly being offered the role as Skeletor in Travis Knight's Masters of the Universe. Is this a good thing or a bad thing, Jace?
Well, depending on who you are, but I would say the backlash, Rick, on this has been huge. Everybody that's reporting this story is going curses or no and things like that. And I get it because Jared Leto, wow, he of recent times has had some roles that have been a little bit cringy.
Yeah.
A little bit cringy and haven't worked for him, you know. As someone who's a big Tron fan, he's out later this year, or sorry, next year with a new Tron movie. And which he's in, so I'm a bit nervous about. But I will say this is an Oscar winner actor, and he's been good in some films over the years. And hey, recently I liked him in Blade Runner 2049. You know, and yeah, well, look, honestly, I don't think it's the right fit, though. I don't really want him to be Skeletor. I just think there are more interesting choices out there than Jared Leto, dude.
Yeah, we know he's a method actor and he gets very immersed into the role, and then sometimes that carries on. And I don't know. I don't think this is a good fit for him.
No,
I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't see it.
It's not a good fit for him at all. I don't think physically he's the right size. I think I don't think he's probably. I'm sure he can do a hammy version. Like in some ways, that's what people say about his portrayal of the Joker, that it was quite hammy. Now, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't completely hated his Joker. I just hated the story and the writing and the direction of Suicide Squad. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one, but the fact of the matter is this film, I think, is starting to really build some traction because this was a story in Variety this week. This was a highly reported. People are very interested about who they're going to cast as Skeletor, but it should be Jared Leto. Definitely not. It should be somebody else. But
do you recommend anyone? Anyone come to mind, Jace? Or
Not really. I'd have to sit down and really think about it. I think it's also what approach are you taking to Skeletor? Are we doing a guy in a suit? Are we doing a mix of CGI and motion capture performance?
Correct. Yeah.
Which I think is the way they should go. Honestly, I think it should be a mix of a performance artist and because honestly, his skull, it should be like the fact that you can't see the inside of his skull. I'd make the head CGI. That's what I'm trying to say. I'd make the head CGI.
Yeah.
And then you just really need a performer at the bottom. So
which he could do.
You need someone who's kind of jacked too. I think you need the size. These guys are jacked, so we need jacked dudes.
Well, he could do it. You've seen all body transformations on a lot of these celebrities. Where they go, maybe I don't know, but I don't see him as Skeletor. But anyway, Travis Knight does. All right,
who made the best Transformers movie to date?
True, and that's the only thing that's going for it.
Oh, do you hear Transformers 1 on a side note is an excellent film. Great reviews on that movie.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's hopefully we get.
But I've thrown in there for you, Ricky.
Let's see if we get some big reviews on this He-Man movie. Anyway, Jace, let's get into what's in other news. Well, our stories wouldn't be complete if we don't talk about Marvel. And we've got some Spiderman and Sony news. Shang-Chi Director is in talks to helm Spider-Man 4.
Yes, this is great news. This, I believe, it is a long way through negotiations. It is a matter of, I think, days before he will sign on the dotted line. Mr. Daniel Cretton, if you can remember, did direct Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings,
movie,
which was a great kick off to Phase 4. It was a good movie, great movie. Love that bus scene, love the ending. Yeah, but he's going to do Spider-Man 4. Excuse me. Sorry, had a bit of spider webs up my nose there. And so, which is really kind of great news. Now, if you remember, Rick, this guy initially was attached to direct the Kang Dynasty.
Yes. Yeah.
He was. And obviously that's fallen through. But he's well loved and respected in the MCU Marvel universe.
It was a good choice.
So it's, to me, a smart choice to have this man be your director of Spider-Man 4. So, because he did such a great job. Now, Tom Holland has been out recently commenting on whether he was be involved. And, you know, he goes, the simple answer is yes, that I'll always want to do Spider-Man films. I owe my life and career to Spider-Man. So the simple answer is yes, I'll always want to do more. And what's great is in this one, if you ever look, not Benedict Cumberbatch, don't care about you, mate. As we go back, he said, this is the first time in the process that I've been part of the creative so early. Meaning, Rick, that Tom Holland is basically going to be producer on this movie. He's having a say in what the story's about and who's going to direct it. So very much, I think this is a smart choice. And I think this is Tom Holland's choice to direct Spider-Man 4.
That's interesting. I mean, how long can he really play Spider-Man? And
a long time. We've had comic runs where we're dealing with Spider-Man in his late 20s. We've had Spider-Man content that's dealt with him in his late 30s. He's a young-looking guy.
He's still looking young.
He could do this for another 15, 20 years, I reckon, Rick.
Mm.
I think he's going to be our first long-term Spider-Man in a while. I don't see him giving up on this. Yeah, as he gets older, maybe he can't do some of the stunts anymore. And, you know, you got to bring in a stunt guy. At the moment, he does basically all his own wire work and everything. So,
isn't his brother part of like a stunt, like his stunt double or something as well?
It might be. I know he's very close to his brother.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, like, you see Tom Holland's naturally gifted in
100%.
In all that stuff. So, yeah, very cool. Very cool.
All right, Jason, let's get into some the next story. A bit of DC news, which is exciting.
Going down the street.
We are. Now, I'm very excited about this, and I'm sure you are too, and a lot of fans are out there as well are excited. The Penguin, Matt Reeves, confirms whether or not Batman will appear in the series. I'm really looking forward to this series.
Simple answer to that from the story is no, he does not appear in the Penguin.
Which is good.
I think which is right, which is focused.
Yeah, 100%.
And I am very much looking forward to it too. Look, Matt Reeves' universe, I think he's come out recently and said there's one more movie he wants to do, and I think they're going to close the door on it.
Yeah.
So this is not going to become a big, expansive Batman universe. Not this version of Batman, anyway, because you've got to remember James Gunn is gearing up towards his own version of Batman. And Robert Pattinson doesn't fit into James Gunn's vision of what Batman will be. So we're going to get one more film. Colin Farrell's come out and said he's kind of done with the character too in the last few days.
Okay.
Yeah. They felt like they did such an amazing job in the series. Everything that...
Yeah.
I mean, he's saying that now because you just had to come off, I don't know, 90 days of putting 4 hours makeup every day on his face.
Yeah.
He's probably completely done.
Takes a toll on you.
Yeah. So no, I'm looking into it. However, Rick, mixed reviews on this in the last few days. There has been not the highest of scores, but not the lowest either. I choose the things that they're complaining about. I think are ridiculous. But I don't care what Colin Farrell is doing in this show. Just seeing him play this character again has got me hooked. I am all in on this show.
It's phenomenal. He was just, you know, he's a great actor and playing this part. I can't see it being a bad show. I just, So I want to see more.
Reeves went, Rob Pattinson is not going to be in the show. So there you go.
Well, which makes sense because you don't want to focus on Batman, and this is the Penguin, so it's going to draw away from that storyline.
His interview earlier in the week also mentioned that with his version of the Batman will never go into fantastical realms, and he's come out and said that, meaning his villains are always going to be grounded in a reality, which was evident from the Batman anyway. But I can't wait to find out who is going to be the next villain. Who is going to be the next one? Which one do you do, Rick? With this giant rogues gallery, which is the character that you pull in, or do you redo?
We don't want to redo a Joker again because we've seen Joker too many times. It's done.
And we've got their version of it anyway. They established that with that Barry, can't pronounce his last name. He was in the Eternals and Saltburn and all that. We've already got that version of it, so I just wonder what they'll do. Do they do a Mr. Freeze? Do they do a Two-Face again?
Bring back Arnie.
You know what I mean? Like, what do they do? So it'll be very interesting, but I can't wait.
Yeah, looking forward to it for sure.
I think it's like next week or the week after. I think it's close.
What, when it airs?
Yeah, it's not that far away, I believe. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, let's move it on.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, September 19th. This is HBO.
So that's 4 days' time.
There you go. Oh, well. Yeah. All right, awesome. All right, Jason, let's get into the next story. Another big franchise that you really enjoy, and a lot of people do too. Denis Villeneuve confirms Dune 3 is being written, but says it's not like a trilogy.
Interesting yet bizarre kind of comment to be made, but if you think about it, he's dead right. So he's currently in the process, even though he said he was going to take a break for a bit, but it sounds like it's very clear he's right in the middle of the writing process for Dune 3. And what he's trying to say is, this is not your traditional trilogy where, there's a beginning, middle, and end. These books go on for several more books afterwards. And essentially, it's its own contained narrative, the Messiah. So, because that's what he's doing, Dune Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's a lot harder for him to write because, unlike Dune, Part 1 and 2 was the one book, right? He had to spread out 2 films.
Yeah.
But this next one he's doing, he has to condense into one film. So it's a lot of hard work. So, and it's what happens in that story, and I know that story, it goes in a completely different direction than what you're expecting. Yeah. Or maybe you are suspecting, I don't know. But either way, it's going to be a massive film, and I can't wait to see it. But he has also said that it will be his last Dune film, but his hopes are it will continue with different directors afterwards. So, which I think is a classy statement for him to make, is him not being this precious auteur and going, no, these are my films and no one can make. Yeah. No, he's setting it up just like, let's do all of them, guys. If they're making money, go make all these Dune films. So,
he's hit that standard though, hasn't he? The first 2 films are great.
Yeah, it's like the Peter Jackson factor with Lord of the Rings, right? Now you have the Power of Rings, the Amazon series.
Yeah.
Which just doesn't, it's not a great show. And secondly, it just never visually was felt right. It just didn't feel right. It never felt like the Middle Earth that I know. And because Peter Jackson did such a high standard, that's what their expectation is. Hence why they've hired him back to do more Lord of the Rings films, which they're currently doing at Warner Brothers. Well, same house, Warner Brothers. Denis Villeneuve is, he's going to set a visual style that the other directors
might not have
to follow. They'll have to follow it if they go visually. But I will say, Arrakis isn't just the only focus as we go future with the books. People out there know exactly what I mean.
How many books are there?
Oh, dude, I think if you count his sons ones as well, there's a ton of them, but I think it's 6 other real Frank Herbert ones that you really want to focus on. But I believe there's a ton more after that as well.
Wow. So they could go for a long time if they wanted to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, Jase. Before we get into the train wreck of the week, guys, I just want to remind all our viewers that if you can hit that like and subscribe button for us and also hit that notification bell, we would really appreciate it so don't miss out on any of our videos. And, guys, you can hear us on audio podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and where all good podcasts are found. All right, Jace, let's get into train wreck of the week. All right, buddy. Who's on the train wreck, mate?
Well, Rick. Disney is finding themselves being sued.
Again?
I'm sure that never happens.
Wow.
No, they are being sued. And for this time, this is not good. One of Peter Cushing's friends, so it's still, I think he's a representative of the family, so I don't want to say that it's just a friend, but are suing on behalf of Peter Cushing for the use of his likeness in Rogue One. Now, if you remember Rogue One, this actor here, Peter Cushing, who'd been dead for years, mind you, beforehand, they CGI'd him.
Right.
And used his likeness for Rogue One so that we could have Grand Moff Tarkin back. And so that's what they did. Now, what they're claiming is they never got his permission. Therefore, we're suing you for using his rights without gaining permission, which is an interesting box to uncover. Because, Rick, this is going to happen more in the future, isn't it? Where they're going to resurrect dead actors and CGI them to put them in legacy sequels or some other film. And at the moment, some of the strikes, remember the actor strike, this was one of the key components, was the AI usage and usage of your likeness. Now, look what's happened. We've got a court case. Now, I think quietly it will be buried eventually. They'll come to a settlement and there'll be a check that goes across the table to cover it. But it's opening a big can of worms here, dude, because this is not going to be the last time we hear of this. Other actors' likenesses are going to be used. What happens? And you know what the sad thing about this, Rick, is too? Is in real life, Peter Cushing ended up dying broke and living in government housing.
Oh, so
you know what I mean? So
yeah, all right. Yeah.
And he never, so it's
this was what,
sad.
8 years ago, Rogue One, and now this comes out.
Yeah, 8 years later, there's a court case coming through.
Why?
Which I don't know. Maybe, you know what? The strikes could have had something to do with it. Maybe the lawyers wanted to wait and see what the result of this subject matter was in the new terms and conditions for actors and part of the strikes.
They'd have to put
that's laid itself out. Then they've re-looked at the case and gone, all right, we are now in a position where we think we have a strong case to sue Disney, and away they go. But it's
everyone just wants a piece of Disney, whatever.
Well, yeah, and I don't know where to feel on this side of the fence, because a part of me is like, oh yeah, you're just trying to sue Disney, but there's another part of me, dude, going, well, did they use his image without asking any permission of any of the family or anything like that? And why not get some restitution from Disney? Because this film grossed hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office. A lot of people's pockets got fat off this film.
Of course they did. But
he was a big part of it. Everyone had, oh my God, they brought him into the movie. So why shouldn't the family who would have received nothing not get some pocket money? I don't think that is completely unreasonable either.
Well, like you said, this definitely has opened a can of worms, and I think Disney are going to reassess it, surely, with every actor that's passed away.
Yeah, well, Disney's defense on this has been, well, here we go. Like, basically, he signed his contract, and on whatever his initial contract that he signed for Star Wars, basically meant to Disney that they didn't need to access it, they didn't need to seek his permission. Which raises the question, how in the hell in 1976, when you did sign this contract before filming, would you know?
Yeah, correct.
The ability to AI, his dead likeness into a film would even be something you could think about. So, it's an interesting case because, like I said, the ramifications of this case, Rick, will be widespread through the industry. So
Yeah.
seems like a goofy little story, but its impact may be huge.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. But a lot of people want to benefit off of Disney, so why shouldn't they not? But anyway, I wouldn't go up against them. Anyway, Jace, that is it for this week, buddy. We had some good stories this week, which is great.
We did.
Guys, you can catch myself and Jace always every week on this show, and you can also check out our backlog of catalogs of all our videos that we have. Jace, is there anything else you want to cover before we go, buddy?
Not really. You can find me over the Captain's Quadrant on YouTube. Check that out. And you can also find me also on the Jason Roy Gaston channel doing content as well. But yes, most importantly, catch me here every week.
Wonderful. Guys, we will see you all next week. Bye for now.
See you guys. Thanks for watching. If you could do us a massive favor and hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. Also, come and check out us on all our social media accounts and keep up to date. And if you're looking for some clothing, you're needing some merch, we've got you covered at the Pop Culture Spread store.